Welcome to Antique.com. Today's feature is the Cybercom Pentium 4 tower unit. So let's get the lid off if I can. This unit is more commonly known as a Medion computer to people in the UK, as they were sold by Aldi superstores. As always, I'll start with stripping the machine down just to find out what the components are like. Getting the power plug out the back of the DVD drive was incredibly hard. It seemed to be jammed, almost glued in place, but what it actually was a really poor quality Molex connector. It's indicative of this power supply. All the wires seem really thin gauge and really poorly put together. It's what you get when you build down to a cost. Gosh, that was hard. Whilst I take the drives out, you'll probably notice the front of this case is rather yellow. It's been sat in a conservatory for a number of years and it looks like it's been sun bleached to death. I might try a bit of retro bright on this, but my gut feeling is that I ought to leave this the colour it is. The yellow and the darker chocolate brown kind of work for me. It's kind of got that sort of antique-y kind of look, so I'm probably not going to retrobrite this, I'm just going to clean this. Now that we're down to a bare case, bar the DVD drive which is still jammed in place, I'm going to take the front off and see if that gives me better access. You'll note as soon as I take this off and turn the front cover around just how much sun bleach there is on this. So the last item to come out is this very strange USB front port. Everything in this case seemed to be jammed in place, either strange sized screws or poor quality wiring. It really is the worst machine I've come across in a long time. As I'm rearranging items on the desk, you'll notice that the heatsink and fan is still connected to the motherboard, with obviously the CPU beneath it. I decided it was the right thing to do to remove the heatsink from the motherboard so that I could clean it. Alas, when I removed it, out came the CPU. It appeared to be glued to the underside of the heatsink. I need to remove the processor from the heatsink, otherwise I'll never be able to fit it back in the socket on the motherboard. So I set about removing the processor. Unfortunately, all this ended up with was me delidding the processor. I got a few bits of feedback from Facebook, but in essence all I needed to do was put some new heat paste in and reattach it. Once the system was back together, it became apparent that it was actually stable using this Pentium 4 chip with the D-lid. So I immediately set about putting Windows XP Media Edition onto this machine. Now, I've never used the Media Edition before, and I did notice a few differences in the setup, but as always I'll skip through all the boring bits until we get to the XP desktop. So there we go, that's the media version of Windows XP all set up and ready.